My wife cheated, lied about being pregnant with another man's child, tried to sell our home and drain our accounts, but I outsmarted her, exposed the con, and rebuilt a life she'll never touch again. Jason Caldwell was one slide away from a 9-figure deal when his phone buzzed with the call that would gut his life. He stood at the head of a Chicago boardroom, 42 floors above the city, his tech startup Nexlafly on the verge of a merger that would rewrite his future. The room, 10 investors, 6 lawyers, his own team, hung on his words, their eyes tracking the laser dot he flicked across a revenue graph. At 34, Jason had the polish of a man who'd built something from nothing, his Navy suit sharp, his voice sharper. "This isn't just data analytics," he said, leaning into the table. "It's a machine that predicts the future. Nexlafly doesn't chase markets, it owns them." Nods rippled around the room. Margaret Voss, the lead investor with a stare like a hawk, scribbled a note. Jason caught it, adjusting his pace. He was closing this deal, no question. Then his phone vibrated, once, twice, insistent. He ignored it, pushing through a point on scalability. A third buzz broke his rhythm. His jaw tightened, but he kept his smile. Nobody called him like this. Not his team, not his investors. Lena, his wife, preferred texts. Short, cold ones lately. He glanced at the screen under the table. Lena. Odd. Urgent. "Excuse me," Jason said, voice smooth as glass. "A quick interruption. I'll be back in 2. He stepped into the hallway, the boardroom's hue muted by the closing door. The corridor was stark, all marble and silence, amplifying the phone's buzz as he answered. "Alina," he said, clipped. "I'm in the middle of..." "I'm leaving you, Jason." Her voice was ice, no preamble. He froze, one hand against the wall. The words hit hard, but his face stayed blank, like he was hearing a weather report. "Leaving," he said, flat. "Yes." She pushed on, fast, like she'd rehearsed it. "I'm pregnant. It's not yours. I've sold the apartment, the car. I'm done. With Brad." Brad. The name was a blank, but it landed like a blade. The apartment, their Tribeca loft where they'd hosted dinner parties, argued over paint colors, gone. The Tesla, barely driven, cashed out. 8 years of marriage erased in 30 seconds. Jason's pulse spiked, but his breathing stayed even. He glanced at his watch. 90 seconds before he needed to walk back in there and seal his company's future. "Anything else?" he asked, voice low, no trace of the storm inside. A pause. Lena's breath hitched, like she'd expected him to crack. "That's it? 8 years and you've got nothing?" "You've said your piece," he replied. "I heard it." Her laugh was sharp, bitter. "You're unbelievable." "Goodbye, Lena." He ended the call, the screen going black. For 10 seconds he stood still, staring at the wall. Betrayal should hurt, he thought. It should roar, demand tears or fists. But all he felt was a cold, clear focus, like a chessboard snapping into view. Lena thought she'd ambushed him. She had no idea who she was playing against. He straightened his tie, pushed open the boardroom door, and strode back to the table. The room snapped to attention, Margaret Voss's eyes narrowing slightly. Jason flashed a smile, sharp enough to cut. "Sorry for the delay," he said, clicking to the next slide. "Let's talk market domination. By Q3, we'll own the analytics space. Here's how." He launched back in, voice steady, gestures precise. The graph glowed behind him, a promise of billions. Nobody saw the way his thumb pressed hard against the remote, or the steel in his gaze when he paused. Jason Caldwell didn't break, not in boardrooms, not in betrayals. If Lena wanted to burn their life down, he'd build a new one from the ashes. And he'd make sure she watched. The pitch rolled on, seamless. Questions came, tough ones, probing margins and timelines. Jason answered each with data, confidence, a man in total control. Margaret leaned forward, her pen still, a faint smile tugging at her lips. His team exchanged glances, impressed. By the time he wrapped, the room was his. Handshakes followed, promises of term sheets by morning. Margaret lingered, her grip firm. "Impressive, Jason," she said. "You don't rattle easily." He met her eyes, unflinching. "Never have." Back at the elevator, alone, he let out a slow breath. The deal was all but done. Nextfly would go global, his name cemented in the tech world. But Lena's words echoed, not as pain, but as a challenge. Pregnant. Brad. Sold. He pulled out his phone, not to call her back, but to text his lawyer. "Check my accounts. Now." The elevator dinged, opening to the lobby's gleam. Jason stepped out, already calculating. Lena thought she'd won the first move. She didn't know he was playing a different game. Jason sat on the edge of the hotel bed, the Chicago skyline a blur beyond the window. The room was too quiet. No boardroom buzz, no Lena's voice slicing through his phone. Just the hum of the minibar and the weight of her words. I'm leaving. Pregnant. Brad. He should feel something. Rage, grief, anything. Instead, there was nothing. A blank space where 8 years of marriage used to be. His fingers rested on the... He didn't move. Not yet. The deal was done. Handshake sealed. Term sheets promised. Next Levi was a rocket and Jason was strapped in for the ride. But Lena's betrayal was a shadow he couldn't outrun. Not pain, exactly, more like a puzzle he needed to solve before it solved him. He opened his phone, ignoring the urge to replay her words, and dialed his lawyer instead. Mark, he said, when the call connected, voice flat. Lena's trying to sell the apartment and car. Maybe more. Freeze everything you can, accounts, assets, anything joint. Do it now. Mark, used to Jason's late-night urgencies, didn't flinch. On it. What's going on? She's leaving. Says she's pregnant. Not mine. The words came out mechanical, like he was reading a report. I need a full audit of our finances by morning. A pause. Jesus, Jason. I'm sorry. Don't be. Just move fast. He hung up, already dialing his financial advisor. Sarah, it's Jason. Check my accounts. Personal, not business. Look for anything weird. Transfers, withdrawals, new signatures. Lock what you can. Call me by dawn. Sarah's voice was crisp, professional. Got it. I'll need a few hours. Make it 2. He ended the call, leaning back against the headboard. The room smelled of starch and lemon cleaner, sterile as his thoughts. He wasn't spiraling. He didn't do spirals. He was building a wall, brick by brick, to keep Lena's chaos out. His mind drifted to the last few months, fragments of their life snapping into focus like clues in a case. Lena's new habits, late nights out, vague excuses about friends he'd never met. Her sudden obsession with designer bags, jewelry, stuff she'd never cared about before. The way she'd dodge his questions, her smile tight, like she was guarding a secret. He'd chalked it up to stress, maybe boredom. They'd been busy. Him with Nexlafly, her with... what? He realized now he didn't know. Art galleries, she'd said once. Charity boards. Lies, probably. He pulled up their joint account on his phone, the one they used for bills. A quick scroll showed nothing blatant, no massive withdrawals, no red flags. But Sarah would dig deeper, find the cracks. Lena wasn't stupid. She'd cover her tracks. The apartment sale, though, that was bold, sloppy even. She'd need his signature to close. Unless she'd forged it. The thought tightened his jaw, but he filed it away. Evidence, not emotion. He stood, pacing to the window. Chicago sprawled below, a grid of lights that felt alive and different. He'd always liked this city. Raw, unapologetic. Like him, now. Lena thought she'd blindsided him, but she'd miscalculated. He wasn't the type to break. He'd lost his dad at 15, scrapped through college on loans and grit, built a company from a laptop in a diner. Betrayal wasn't new, it was just another obstacle. His phone pinged, a text from Mark. Apartment sale flagged, no transfer yet, joint accounts frozen, more soon. Jason nodded to himself, a general getting reports from the field. Lena would hit walls soon, bank errors, paperwork delays. She'd think it was bad luck, he'd make sure of it. He sat at the desk, pulling out a legal pad from his briefcase. Old habit, writing, to think. He jotted names, Lena, Brad. Questions. Who is he? Where'd they meet? What's her endgame? The pen moved fast, lines sharp. He didn't know Brad, but the name felt greasy like a con man's alias. Lena wasn't reckless. She wouldn't burn their life down for a fling. This was planned, deliberate. The pregnancy, though, that was a wild card. His gut twisted, not from jealousy but from the math. 8 years, no kids, not for lack of trying early on. Now this. Brad's kid. He scratched the name harder, ink bleeding into the paper. Another memory surfaced, Lena's phone, always face down lately, the way she'd snatch it if he got too close. Password changed, he'd noticed once, when she asked him to check her calendar. He'd let it slide, trust, he'd thought. Stupid, trust was a luxury he couldn't afford now. He tore the page off, folded it, and tucked it into his wallet. No revenge, not yet. Just strategy. Lena wanted to play dirty. He'd play smarter. He'd let her think she was winning, let her spend her confidence like bad credit. Then he'd pull the rug. His phone lit up again. Sarah. Found something, she said, voice tight. 2 withdrawals last month, $10,000, 0 cents each. Not your signature, went to an account I don't recognize. I've locked the rest. Good, Jason said. Trace it, quietly. He hung up, staring at the skyline again. 20 grand. Pocket change for him now, but a signal. Lena was moving money, building something with Brad. A new life, she'd think. A trap, he'd make sure. The numbness was still there, a shield he didn't question. He didn't need to feel. Not yet. He needed to win. Jason woke to Chicago's gray dawn, the hotel room still cloaked in shadows. No dreams, no tossing, just a hard reset from sleep to strategy. Lena's call was 18 hours old, her words a blueprint for war. I'm leaving, pregnant, Brad. The numbness held, a cold engine driving him forward. He didn't need to feel, he needed to act. His phone already had texts from Mark, apartment sales stalled. From Sarah, trace $20.00 K to a Delaware account, digging deeper. Good. The walls were closing in on Lena, and she didn't even know it. He showered fast, the water scalding, then dressed in a crisp white shirt and charcoal slacks. No suit today, meetings were done, the merger Inc. pending final terms. Now was for quieter moves, the kind that didn't make headlines but won battles. He sat at the desk, coffee black and steaming, and opened his laptop. A quick search, Private Investigators, Chicago. He didn't need flashy, just thorough. Someone who could find a ghost named Brad. 3 calls later, he landed Ryan Kessler, ex-cop, 10 years in the game, voice like gravel over the phone. What's the job? Ryan asked. No small talk. My wife's leaving me, Jason said, voice flat. Says she's with a guy named Brad. I need everything, his name, his past, his scams. She's pregnant, claims it's his spart there. Ryan didn't flinch. Timeline? Yesterday. I'm back in New York tomorrow. Expensive to rush, Ryan said, testing. Money's not the issue, answers are. Jason gave him Lena's details, phone, habits, the little he knew of her recent life. She thinks she's ahead. I want her blind. Got it. I'll have something by tonight. Ryan hung up, no promises, just purpose. Jason liked that, no fluff, just results. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Strategy, not revenge. Revenge was a fire, hot, messy, self-destructive. Strategy was a blade, cold, precise, final. Lena wanted to gut him, take the apartment, the car, his stability. Fine. He'd let her swing, let her think she was carving out a win. Meanwhile, he'd map her moves, block her exits, and leave her with nothing but regret. The game wasn't about hurting her. It was about keeping what was his. His phone pinged. Mark again. Car title transfer attempted. Blocked. No record of sale yet. Lena was moving fast, sloppy. She'd always been impulsive, he realized now. The way she'd redecorate their loft on a whim, drop thousands on a painting because it felt right. He'd admired it once, called it passion. Now he saw it for what it was, weakness. Brad, whoever he was, had sniffed that out. A predator picking the easy mark. Jason stood, pacing to the window. The city churned below, all hustle and steel. He thought about pressure, boardrooms, deadlines, the merger he'd just closed. Moments where one wrong word could tank millions. He thrived there, always had. Emotions were noise. Control was signal. Yesterday's pitch was proof. Lena's call hit mid-sentence, a bomb in his pocket, and he'd still walked out with a deal. No cracks, no stumbles. Lena didn't get that about him. She thought he'd break, beg, chase her. She'd misread the board. He flashed back to their last real talk, maybe 3 months ago. Dinner at their loft, take-out sushi because she'd forgotten to cook. Her eyes were distant, flicking to her phone every few minutes. He'd asked about her day, gallery openings, she'd said, some new artist. He'd nodded, distracted by a work email. Now he saw it, the lie in her smile, the way she'd gripped her fork too tight. Brad was already there, a shadow in their home. How long? Months? Longer? Ryan would find out. His laptop chimed, an email from Sarah. Delaware account links to a shell company. No name yet, but it's active. More withdrawals attempted last night, blocked. Lena was desperate. Or Brad was. Jason pictured her, maybe in a new city already, checking her bank app, frowning at pending errors. She'd call it a glitch, try again. He'd make sure every door stayed locked. He typed a reply. Keep monitoring, flag anything to Ryan Kessler PI. Then he opened a new doc, titled it Plan. Bullet points, sharp and clear. Ryan digs into Brad. Mark buries the apartment sale. Sarah tracks the money. Let Lena think she's free, for now. No rage, no tears, just steps, like coding a program. If A, then B. If Lena runs, block her path. If Brad pushes, expose him. The game was simple. Outlast, outthink, outplay. His phone buzzed. Ryan already got a lead, he said. Brad's not a ghost. Seen with her at a bar in Soho last month. Bartender knows him, says he's trouble. I'm chasing his last name now. Fast, Jason said, impressed. You paid for fast. A pause. She's not hiding, Jason. Posting on social, new bags, new trips. Cocky. Jason's jaw tightened. Cocky was good. Cocky meant mistakes. Keep me posted, he said, hanging up. He stood, grabbing his jacket. A walk would clear his head, let him think. The merger was won, but this was the real fight now. Lena thought she'd rewritten the rules, left him bleeding. She didn't know he was already 3 moves ahead. Board reset, pieces in place. Emotions could wait. Control was now. And Jason Caldwell never lost control. Jason's phone lit up at 7 a.m., Ryan's name on the screen. He was already awake, coffee in hand, standing by the hotel window as Chicago stirred below. 2 days since Lena's call, and the game was accelerating. He answered, voice steady. What've you got? Brad's real name is Bradley Tanner, Ryan said, no preamble. 42, no fixed address. Conman with a trail, fraudulated 3 women in 5 years. Fake investments, stolen credit, 1 paternity scam. Lena's his latest mark. Jason's grip tightened on the mug, but his face stayed blank, not shock, just confirmation. Lena wasn't just leaving, she was drowning in a hustler's net. Proof? He asked. Bank records, bar tabs, 1 ex who talked. Tanner's good uses charm, not force. Lena's paying for his life right now. Ryan's tone was flat, clinical. She's still clueless. Keep digging, Jason said. I want his next move. On it. Ryan hung up. Jason set the phone down, mind racing. Bradley Tanner. A parasite, not a lover. Lena thought she'd traded up, but she'd bet on a losing hand. He felt a flicker of pity, then crushed it. She'd chosen this. Sold their home, their life, for a liar. His job wasn't to save her, it was to secure his own. His phone pinged. Mark, his lawyer, apartment sale dead. Lena's broker tried pushing it through. I cited joint ownership, no deal without your sign-off. Jason nodded to himself. Lena would have gotten a call by now, some flustered agent stammering about paperwork issues. She'd fume, maybe suspect him, but he'd left no fingerprints, just delays, innocent and maddening. He opened his laptop, checking Sarah's latest report. Lena had tried accessing their joint savings yesterday. 3 attempts, all blocked. System error, the bank would have told her. Try again later. Sarah's note was blunt. She's hitting walls. Transferred $5.00 from her personal account to an unknown card, probably Tanner. Jason's jaw clenched. Lena was bleeding money, feeding Brad's game while thinking it was hers. He typed a text to Sarah. Keep the blocks tight. Let her think it's a glitch. No confrontation, no warnings. Lena needed to feel safe, cocky, like she was still driving the car. The longer she believed that, the deeper she'd dig her hole. He hit send, then leaned back, mapping the board. Ryan's intel was gold. Brad's history gave him leverage, not just on Lena but on the con man himself. The apartment was safe, the accounts locked. Now it was about timing, letting Lena swing until she had nothing left to swing with. His mind flicked to her, imagining her somewhere new, maybe a sleek condo paid for with his money. She'd be checking her phone, frowning at frozen accounts, calling banks, hearing technical issues again and again. Brad would be there, smooth-talking, promising it'd sort itself out. Jason almost smirked. The guy was a pro, but he'd picked the wrong target to piggyback. Another text from Mark. Lena's lawyer reached out, fishing for your stance. I stonewalled. Said you're traveling, unavailable. Perfect. Let her lawyer chase ghosts. Jason replied, delay everything, no contact. He wasn't hiding, he was hunting. And Lena was too blind to see the trap closing. Ryan called again, mid-morning. More on Tanner, he said. Ex-girlfriend in Philly says he drained her for $80, 0 cents K, then ghosted. Same pattern, love-bombed her, pushed for joint accounts, faked a kid on the way. Cops never pinned him. Too slippery. Jason paced, absorbing it. Brad wasn't just a grifter, he was a machine, picking women who wanted out, women like Lena. Restless, ready to burn bridges. Where's he now? Jason asked. Other, I'd bet. Got a photo from a club last night. New York, not Chicago. Lena's flashing cash, new jewelry. Tanner's glued to her side. Send it. Jason hung up. And the photo landed seconds later. Lena, all smiles, in a red dress he didn't recognize, dripping with a diamond bracelet. Brad, tall, slick to perfect grin, had an arm around her, eyes on the crowd like a shark. Jason stared, not at her but at him, a face he'd never forget now. He didn't feel anger, not exactly, just a cold clarity. Lena thought she was winning, rebuilding on his ruins. Brad thought he'd found a golden goose. They were both wrong. Jason's plan wasn't to scream or sue, it was to dismantle their illusion piece by piece until they had nowhere to run. He texted Ryan, track their spending, hotels, flights, anything big. Then to Sarah, flag any loan applications in her name. Brad's type didn't stop at cash. He'd push Lena to borrow, to sign, to sink deeper. Jason would be ready when they did. By noon, he was on a call with his team, finalizing merger details. His voice was sharp, focused, no hint of the war raging inside. The deal was his anchor mill, millions in funding, a global stage for Nexlafly. Lena could take his past, but she wouldn't touch his future. He hung up, checked his watch. Flight to New York tonight. Time to bring the fight home. His phone buzzed one last time. Ryan. Lena just tried booking a trip. Paris, first class. Card declined. A pause. She's pissed, Jason. Called the bank from a cafe, I heard it. Jason allowed himself a thin smile. Cracks were forming, small but real. Lena's world was shrinking, and she didn't even know why. He'd keep it that way, glitches, errors, bad luck, until she was cornered. The game was his now, and he played to win. Jason's laptop glowed in the dim hotel room, a war room of open tabs and encrypted files. Chicago's skyline flickered outside, but his focus was razor sharp. Bank records, email chains, Ryan's reports. 3 days since Lena's call, and the board was set. She thought she was free, building a new life with Brad. Jason was rewriting the rules, and she didn't even see the game. He leaned back, scanning Sarah's latest update. Lena had tried another withdrawal, $15,000, 0 cents, blocked again. She called the bank twice, Sarah wrote, sounded frantic, no luck. Good. Every error was a jab, wearing her down. Mark's email followed. Lena's broker pushed the apartment sale again. Shut it down, title's locked. She's got nothing. The noose was tightening, invisible and precise. Ryan's folder sat on his screen, thick with dirt on Bradley Tanner. Fake IDs, closed accounts, a string of women left broken. Lena was just the latest, her name on a lease with Brad's alias, her card swiped for his suits, his dinners. Jason didn't open the photos again. Lena's red dress, Brad's slick grin burned into his memory. Instead, he forwarded Ryan's findings to Mark. Build a case, he typed. Fraud, forgery, anything that sticks. Evidence was his weapon, not rage. He'd bury them in paper before they knew what hit them. His phone buzzed. Ryan, right on time. Tanner's pushing her hard, he said, voice low. Applied for a $50 0 cents K loan in Lena's name yesterday. Online, no signature yet. She doesn't know. Jason's jaw tightened. Brad wasn't just a leech, he was a machine, squeezing Lena dry while she chased her new start. Can you stop it? He asked. Already flagged it as fraud, Ryan said. Bank's holding it. Lena'll get a call soon. Identity theft concern. She'll freak. Let her. Jason paced, mind clicking through moves. Lena was unraveling. Bank errors, stalled sales, now this. She'd suspect Brad, maybe, or bad luck. Not him. He was a ghost, pulling strings from 800 miles away. What's she doing now? Shopping, Ryan said. Fifth Avenue, dropping thousands on bags, shoes. Tanner's with her, egging it on. Her personal card's taking the hit. Joint accounts are... Jason nodded. Lena was spending to cope, drowning her doubts in receipts. Brad was happy to help, burning through her cash before it ran out. Track every purchase, he said. I want a trail. Got it. Ryan hung up. Jason opened a new doc, labeling it Timeline. He listed Lena's moves, apartment sale attempt, car transfer, withdrawals, now loans. Beside each, his counters. Blocks, freezes, flags, digital footprints, all admissible. Mark would turn it into a legal cage fraud, breach of contract, maybe theft if Brad's forged signatures held up. Lena wouldn't just lose. His phone pinged. Sarah again. Lena tried logging into your investment account. Password rejected. She's locked out. Jason explained, sharp. That was bold, even for her. She'd never touched his investments before. Brad's idea. Had to be. Another mistake. He replied, add it to the log. No alerts to her. Let her think she'd mistyped. Let her try again. Every failure was another crack in her confidence. He pictured her now, maybe in a boutique, swiping her card, frowning when it declined. Brad would smooth it over, promised to fix it while quietly checking his own accounts. Lena was a mark, not a partner, and she was too blind to see it. Jason's pity was gone. She'd chosen this, sold their life for a con. His job was to make sure she paid the price. He opened his texts, thumb hovering over Lena's name. Time for a nudge, something to rattle her without breaking cover. He typed, "Heard you're moving on. Hope it's worth it." No accusations, no threats, just enough to make her pause, wonder what he knew. He hit send, imagining her phone buzzing in her purse, her pulse jumping as she read it. She'd overthink it, second-guess Brad, maybe call him to fish for clues. He wouldn't answer. Silence was louder. Ryan's next call came at dusk. "Loan's officially dead," he said. "Bank called Lena. She's yelling about hacks, identity theft. Tanner's calming her down, but she's shaky." Jason allowed himself a thin smile. Shaky was perfect. Panic made people sloppy, and Lena was already slipping. "Anything else?" he asked. "She's booking hotels," Ryan said. "Nice ones, Manhattan. Paying up front. Her card still got juice, but it's thinning. Tanner's name's on nothing." "Smart," Jason said. Brad was covering his tracks, letting Lena take the fall. Keep eyes on them. "Will do." Click. Jason closed his laptop, standing to stretch. The merger was humming. His team sent updates. Term sheets were rolling in. Nexla was his fortress, untouched by Lena's chaos. But this fight, this quiet war, was personal. He wasn't crushing her for fun. He was reclaiming what was his money, his stability, his future. Lena thought she'd rewritten the story. He was editing it back. His phone stayed quiet. No reply from Lena. Good. She was stewing, caught between Brad's lies and his text's shadow. Tomorrow he'd fly to New York, step onto her turf. Not to confront, just to watch, to wait. The trap was set, and Lena was walking right into it, one desperate step at a time. Jason's phone buzzed as he stepped into the Chicago conference room. The merger's final signatures waiting. Ryan's text. "Lena's throwing a party tonight. NYC. Calls it her freedom bash. Tanner's there. Got eyes on it." Jason's jaw tightened, but he didn't reply. Lena was celebrating, toasting her escape with his money, oblivious to the walls collapsing around her. Let her dance. He was about to rewrite the score. The room was packed. Investors, lawyers, his Nexlify team, all eyes on him. Margaret Voss sat at the head, her pen poised like a judge's gavel. 4 days since Lena's call, and Jason hadn't wavered. The deal was his lifeline, a fortress no betrayal could breach. He took his seat, voice steady. "Let's close this." Numbers flew, valuations, equity splits, timelines. Jason countered every push with data, calm as steel. His team glanced at him, awed. They didn't know about Lena, the frozen accounts, the conmen bleeding her dry. They saw their CEO, unshaken, carving a path to billions. Margaret pressed on revenue projections, probing for cracks. Jason met her stare, unflinching. "We'll hit $500 million, 0 cents by Q4. Our tech's already live in 3 markets. Scale's inevitable." She nodded, signing the term sheet. Hands shook, champagne popped. Nexla wasn't just a startup anymore. It was a global player, backed by enough cash to dominate analytics. Reuters wanted an interview. TechCrunch was sniffing for a profile. Jason's name would be everywhere by morning. He allowed a thin smile, not for the win, but for the timing. Lena's party would be dust compared to this. Back at his hotel, he checked his phone. Ryan had sent a video, grainy but clear. Lena at a rooftop bar in Manhattan, lights strung above, music thumping. She wore gold, laughing too loud, a glass raised to a crowd of strangers. Brad hovered, all charm, his hand on her waist while his eyes scanned the room. Jason didn't flinch. Her joy was a lie, built on credit and denial. Then, Ryan's next message landed. "More on Tanner. He's cheating." Photos attached. Jason opened them. Brad in a hotel lobby, not with Lena but a brunette, her arm looped through his, both laughing. Tunch stamped last night while Lena was likely planning her party. Another shot, Brad kissing the woman in a cab, no hesitation. Jason's pulse didn't jump. It confirmed what he knew. Brad was a machine, playing every angle, and Lena was too blind to see the knife at her back. He texted Ryan. "Who's the woman?" "No ID yet," Ryan replied, "but she's not the first. Tanner's juggling at least 2 others. Lena's just the bank." Jason set the phone down, mind clicking. Lena's freedom was a stage, and Brad was directing the show, pocketing her cash while chasing side games. Ryan's photos were dynamite. Not for her, but for him. He forwarded them to Mark with a note. Add to the file, leverage for fraud. If Lena ever tried to fight him legally, Brad's betrayal would be Exhibit A. Proof she'd been played from the start. His laptop pinged, an email from his PR team. "Bloomberg wants a quote on the merger. Deadline tonight." Jason typed fast. Nexlify's, redefining how the world used data. Today's just the beginning. Short, sharp, true. The deal wasn't just money. It was power. A platform to rebuild bigger, better, untouchable. Lena could have her party, he had an empire. Ryan called, voice low. Party's peaking. Lena's drunk, loud, telling everyone she's finally free. Tanner's working the room, fishing for new marks. Got audio, she's bragging about Paris plans, some villa. Jason's lips twitched. Paris with no money, no tickets. Her card was near its limit, her accounts frozen. She'd wake up to reality soon enough. Any blowback from my text? He asked. He'd sent it yesterday, a cryptic jab. Hope it's worth it. She's paranoid, Ryan said. Kept checking her phone, asking Tanner if you've called. He's brushing it off, but she's jumpy. Good. Jason hung up. That text was a seed, growing thorns in her mind. She'd wonder what he knew, how much he'd planned. Every declined card, every stalled deal would feel like his hand now, even if she couldn't prove it. He stood, pacing to the window. Chicago's lights sprawled below, a city that didn't care about his war. The merger was done, $200 million, 0 cents in funding, offices opening in London, Tokyo. His team was flying high, oblivious to the fight he was waging alone. Lena's party was her peak, a last gasp before the fall. Brad's cheating was the crack that'd break her illusion wide open. Jason didn't need to crash her night. He'd let her do that herself. His phone buzzed again. Mark, Lena's lawyer's desperate, asked for a meeting. I said you're overseas, no contact. Jason replied, keep stalling, no trace to me. He wasn't hiding, he was hunting, and Lena was running out of moves. Brad's photos, Ryan's reports, Sarah's logs. It was all stacking, a legal guillotine waiting to drop. He poured a whiskey, rare for him, and raised it to the skyline. Not a toast to victory, too early for that, but to control. Lena thought she'd stolen his life. Tonight she'd dance. Tomorrow she'd choke on the bill. And Jason? He'd already won. Jason stepped off the red eye into JFK, the terminal's hum a stark contrast to Chicago's Victory High. The merger was sealed. Nexla was global. His name splashed across Bloomberg, wired for millions. 5 days since Lena's call, and he'd built a fortress from her ruins. His phone stayed quiet, no texts from her, just Ryan's updates. Lena's party had crashed into chaos, her cards maxed, her plans crumbling. Jason didn't smile. Winning wasn't joy, it was certainty. He moved through the crowd, carry-on in hand, eyes scanning for the exit. Baggage claim was a churn of tired travelers, but one figure stopped him cold. Lena, slumped by the carousel, her gold dress from the party now creased, mascara streaked, hair a tangle. She looked like a stranger, not the woman he'd married. Her eyes locked on him, wide with desperation, and she lurched forward, blocking his path. Jason, she said, voice raw, trembling. We need to talk. He stopped, face blank, one hand in his pocket. The terminal noise faded, conversations, announcements all drowned by her ragged breathing. Here, he said, voice low, sharp. Now? She flinched, clutching her purse like a shield. Everything's falling apart, she blurted. The bank, the apartment, my cards, nothing works. Why? What did you do? Jason tilted his head, studying her. No tears in him, no pity. She'd sold their life, run off with a con man, and now stood here begging for answers. He stepped closer, voice dropping to a chill whisper. What did I do? I played your game, Lena, and I'm winning. Her mouth opened, closed, like a fish gasping. What's that supposed to mean? She demanded, but her voice cracked, fear bleeding through. The accounts are frozen, the sales blocked, my lawyer can't even reach you. This is you, isn't it? He didn't blink. You thought you could take everything, our home, our money, my future, and I'd just let it go. You miscalculated. She shook her head, frantic. I didn't. I was leaving, Jason, not stealing. Brad said. Brad, he cut her off, the name a blade. Your con man? He's using you, Lena. Draining you while you throw parties and dream of Paris. You're not free. You're his mark. Her face crumpled, doubt flickering. You're lying, she whispered, but it lacked conviction. He loves me. He's not. Ask him about the brunette, Jason said, voice flat. Last night, while you were passed out, hotel lobby, cab ride, kissing her like you don't exist. He didn't need to show her Ryan's photos. His certainty was enough, landing like a punch. Lena's knees buckled, one hand grabbing the carousel's edge. No, she said, voice breaking. You're doing this to hurt me. You're saving myself, he finished. You made your choice. I made mine. Every error, every glitch, every dead end. That's me, Lena. You're not slipping away with my life. You're staying right here, watching it fall apart. Tears spilled now, carving tracks through her makeup. Please, she begged, reaching for his arm. He stepped back, out of reach, cold as stone. Jason, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I thought I could start over. I didn't know. You didn't think, he said, voice steady, final. You burned us down for a scam. Now you're surprised it's hot. He adjusted his bag, eyes never leaving hers. This isn't revenge, Lena. It's consequences. She sobbed, loud enough to draw stares. A couple nearby glanced over, then away, sensing something private, raw. Lena sank to her knees, hands covering her face. What am I supposed to do? She wailed. I have nothing left. Jason didn't move. Her tears were real, her panic too, but they didn't touch him. 8 years' vows, fights, quiet mornings, reduced to this, a stranger crying at his feet. He felt the weight of it, not his pain but his closure. She'd tried to break him. She'd failed. Go back to Brad, he said, voice low, almost gentle. See how long he stays when your money's gone. He turned, stepping past her, his shoes clicking on the tile. Her sobs followed, jagged, desperate, but he didn't look back. The terminal swallowed him, travelers parting as he moved. His phone buzzed. Ryan. She's still at baggage claim. Tanner's not answering her calls. Jason didn't reply. Lena was alone now, cornered by her own choices. He'd given her truth, not comfort. That was enough. Outside, New York's dawn was gray, air sharp with jet fuel and city grit. He hailed a cab, sliding into the back seat. Soho, he told the driver, leaning back, eyes on the skyline ahead. The merger was live, his account secure, Brad exposed. Lena's world was ashes, and he hadn't lifted a fist. He wasn't done, but this round was his. Checkmate. Jason's phone buzzed at noon, Lena's name flashing like a warning. He was in his Soho rental, a bare loft with skyline views, unpacking the last of his Chicago bags. 6 days since her call, 2 since the airport where she'd crumbled at baggage claim. He'd expected silence, maybe a lawyer's letter, not this. The text was short. Please, Jason, meet me. I need to explain. No threats, no demands, just desperation. He stared at it, curiosity outweighing contempt. What did she think she could say? He replied, 1 hour, Bluebird Cafe, don't be late. Not for her sake. Punctuality was his rule, and he'd set the terms. He grabbed his jacket, the folder Mark had overnighted tucked under his arm. Evidence, not emotion, would end this. Bluebird was quiet, a corner spot with worn tables and the smell of roasted beans. Jason took a booth by the window, ordered black coffee, and waited. Lena walked in at 1:02, late, her eyes darting like a trapped animal's. No gold dress now, just jeans, a faded sweater, hair pulled back, face scrubbed raw. She looked small, not the woman who'd toasted freedom with strangers. She slid into the booth, hands twisting a napkin. Thanks for coming, she started, voice low, shaky. I didn't think you would. I was curious, Jason said, voice flat, leaning back. What's left to say? She swallowed, eyes flicking to his coffee, then away. I'm sorry, Jason, I know that sounds hollow, but I didn't mean for it to go like this. He didn't blink. You sold our home, our car, ran off with a con man and lied about a baby. What did you mean, Lena? Her face flushed, tears welling but not falling. I was lost, she said, rushing now. You were always working, always gone. Nextfly was your life, not me. I felt invisible. Brad, he saw me. He listened. He made me feel alive again. Jason's jaw tightened, but he stayed still, letting her spill. Go on. I thought he loved me, she said, voice cracking. He said we'd start over, build something new. The apartment, the car, it was for us, for the baby. I didn't know. She stopped, choking on the words. Didn't know he was a fraud, Jason finished, voice cold. Or that he's cheating, stealing, using you to bankroll his scams. Her eyes widened, fear replacing guilt. You don't know him, she whispered, but it was weak, a reflex. He's not. Jason slid the folder across the table, cutting her off. Open it. She hesitated, hands trembling, then flipped it open. Pages spilled out, bank statements with circled transfers, her money to Brad's aliases, screenshots of loan applications in her name, never signed, photos of Brad with the brunette, lips locked, time-stamped nights she'd been alone, a rap sheet, Bradley Tanner, 3 arrests, no convictions, a trail of broken women, Ryan's notes, Mark's legal summary, all damning. Lena's breath hitched, pages shaking in her hands. No, she mumbled, flipping faster as if the truth would change. This isn't. He wouldn't. He did, Jason said, voice like steel. You're not his first, Lena. You won't be his last. He's drained you for $90,000, 0 cents already, your savings, your credit. The apartment's safe thanks to me, the car too. But you're in debt with his signatures on your name. She dropped the folder, papers scattering, her face collapsing. Why didn't you stop me? She cried, loud enough to turn heads. If you knew, why let me fall? You chose him, Jason said, unmoved. I didn't push you into his arms. I just made sure you couldn't take me down with you. She sobbed, hands over her mouth, rocking slightly. I'm pregnant, Jason. I thought it was real. I thought… Stop, he said, sharp enough to freeze her. If there's a baby, it's not my problem. Brad's not your savior, he's your thief. And you're out of moves. Her eyes searched his, pleading for a crack, a hint of the man who'd loved her. She found nothing. What do you want? She whispered. To ruin me? Jason leaned forward, voice low, final. I want my life back. You've got one option. Disappear. Walk away, cut contact, let Brad sink alone. I'll bury this, he tapped the folder, and you start over clean. Or I take it to court. Fraud, forgery, theft. You'll lose everything and he'll skate like always. She stared, tears streaming, breath ragged. You'd do that after 8 years? You did this, he said, standing, coffee untouched. I'm just cleaning it up. He slid the folder back into his bag, leaving the scattered pages on the table. Her choice, her mess. Jason, she called as he reached the door, voice breaking. I still love you. He paused, hand on the handle, but didn't turn. You don't know what love is, he said, and walked out. The bell above the door jingled, sealing the silence behind him. Outside, New York pulsed. Horns, footsteps, life. His phone buzzed. Ryan. Tanner's booking flights. One-way to Miami. Lena's not on the ticket. Jason didn't reply. Brad was running like he always did. Lena was alone, broken, exactly where he'd planned. He hailed a cab, the folder heavy in his bag. One war won. One life reclaimed. He wasn't done building yet. Jason's new apartment smelled of fresh paint and possibility. A 30th floor Soho high-rise with bare walls and skyline views. No trace of Lena. No shared furniture. No echoes of their Tribeca loft. He'd signed the lease a week after the coffee shop, where she'd sobbed over his folder of evidence, and he'd walked away clean. 2 weeks since her call that tried to break him, and he was already rising, not from ashes but from steel. Nexafly's merger was live, millions flowing, his name in headlines. The war was over. Now he was building again. He unpacked the last box. Books, a coffee maker, running shoes. No photos, no keepsakes. Their old life was gone, not missed. The betrayal hadn't gutted him. It had clarified him, stripped away what didn't matter. He stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows. New York's pulse below. Taxis, lights, ambition. This was his city, his reset. He didn't need Lena to define him. Mornings became his ritual. At 6 a.m., he ran through Soho's quiet streets, sneakers pounding cobblestone, breath steady. The Hudson glinted as he looped past. 5 miles, sometimes 10. No headphones, just his thoughts, sharp and free. Running wasn't escape, it was reclaiming his body, his time. He'd forgotten how it felt to move for himself, not a deadline or a deal. Sweat stung his eyes, and he welcomed it, proof he was alive. Back home, he cooked, simple, deliberate. Eggs with chili oil, steak seared just shy of rare. Vegetables he chopped with a knife he'd bought on impulse. The kitchen was small, functional. His. No takeout, no rush. He'd found an old jazz playlist, Coltrane, Davis streaming low while he worked. The notes filled the apartment, softening its edges. He wasn't a chef, didn't need to be. It was about creation, control, joy in the small things Lena's chaos had buried. Photography came next, a hobby he'd dropped years ago, before Nexafly consumed him. He bought a used Leela, nothing fancy, and started shooting the city. Dawn over the Bowery, steam rising from manholes, strangers caught mid-loft. He didn't post them. Social media was Lena's game, not his. The photos were for him, moments he could hold without losing. Developing them in a rented darkroom, watching images bloom in chemical baths, felt like magic, like rebuilding his vision one frame at a time. The work stayed steady but different. Nexafly's offices were expanding. London next month, Singapore by spring. He led calls, not from desperation but confidence, his team feeding off his calm. The merger's success wasn't a fluke. It was his blueprint, proof he could shape the world without breaking. Investors called, reporters too, but he kept it tight. Quotes, not interviews. Friends crept back slowly. He'd pushed them away during the Lena years, buried in work or her drama. Now he said yes to drinks, to basketball games, to late-night talks at diners. Mike, his college roommate, showed up first, clapping his shoulder like no time had passed. "You look lighter, man," Mike said over beers in the village. Jason nodded, not explaining. He didn't need to. They saw it in his eyes. Not the old Jason, but a new one, sharper, freer. He thought of Lena sometimes. Not with pain, but distance. Ryan's last update, post-coffee shop. She's gone quiet, left the city maybe. Tanner's in Miami dodging warrants. Jason hadn't replied. She'd taken his offer, disappeared no fight. Or she'd crashed elsewhere. Either way, she was a ghost now, not his problem. The folder of evidence sat locked in a drawer, insurance he'd never need use. He'd won by letting her loose herself. One night, editing photos, he caught his reflection in the window. Short hair, faint lines at his eyes, a face that didn't flinch. He wasn't the guy who'd trusted Lena, who'd missed her lies. He was someone else, someone better. The betrayal hadn't defined him, it had refined him, burned off the weak spots. He saved the photo, a grainy self-portrait, and pinned it to the fridge. Not vanity. His phone buzzed less now, work winding down as systems clicked into place. He texted Mike about a game. Called his sister in Boston just to talk. Small moves, real ones. The apartment wasn't home yet, but it was his. A canvas, not a cage. He cooked salmon that night. Coltrane humming, the city alive outside. No rush, no ghosts. Just Jason, whole again, building what no one could take. Jason adjusted his tie in the elevator, the charity gala's fume already leaking through the doors. 6 months since Lena's betrayal, 4 since he'd moved into the Soho high-rising, rebuilding from the ground up. Next Levi was a titan now. London office open, Singapore next, his name a quiet legend in tech. Runs, jazz, photos filled his days, friends his nights. He was whole, not hollow. The gala was a favor to Mike, a chance to network, not chase. He didn't expect Claire. The ballroom glittered, chandeliers, black ties, causes no one fully believed in. Jason sipped a whiskey, scanning faces, when she caught his eye. Claire Voss, mid-30s, in a simple green dress that didn't scream for attention. She stood by a table, laughing with a donor. Her presence sharp, grounded. Mike had mentioned her, a journalist. Wrote novels on the side, Margaret Voss's niece. Jason crossed the room, curiosity pulling him. "Blair, right?" he said, offering a hand. Jason Caldwell, Mike's friend. Her handshake was firm, eyes assessing but warm. "Heard you're the tech guy who doesn't brag," she said, a half smile. "Rare breed." He laughed, easy, not forced. "I let the work talk. You're the writer? Any scoops tonight?" She tilted her head, playful. "Just watching rich people pretend they care about art programs. You here for the kids or the tax write-off?" "Kids," he said, honest. "And maybe the open bar." Her laugh was bright, real. They talked. Books first, then cities. Then the small truths people hide. She lost her brother young, fought her way through newsrooms, wrote to make sense of it all. He didn't mention Lena, but he didn't hide his scars either. Work as armor, trust as a risk. No games, no masks. When she scribbled her number on a napkin, it wasn't a promise, just a door. He took it. Their first date was coffee, then a bookstore, then walks through the village, hours vanishing. Claire wasn't Lena, no drama, no demands. She was sharp, funny, called him out when he dodged questions. He liked that. She'd read his tech profiles, teased his genius label, but saw the guy who ran at dawn, cooked badly, shot photos of strangers. He told her about the betrayal, not as a wound but a lesson, months later over wine in her tiny Brooklyn apartment. She listened, shared her own ghosts, an ex who'd lied, a career that nearly broke her. They healed together, not by fixing but by building. Months blurred. Dinners, museums, her reading chapters of her novel to him showing her grainy prints of the city. Love grew quiet, steady, not a fire but a foundation. She met Mike, his sister, fit into his life like she'd always been there. He wasn't replacing Lena, he was rewriting what partnership meant. Claire was his equal, not his shadow. One fall evening, a letter came, forwarded from his old address. Lena's handwriting, shaky, no return address. He opened it in the kitchen, Coltrane low, Claire grading papers at his table. The words spilled out, regret, excuses, truth. "I was wrong, Jason. Brad used me, left me with nothing. The baby wasn't real, just his lie to keep me. No plea, no ask, just her surrender." He read it once, jaw tight, then folded it away. Claire looked up, sensing the shift. "You okay?" she asked, pen paused. "Yeah," he said, meaning it. "Just closing a door." She nodded, didn't press. He didn't need to share. Lena was a ghost, not a threat. The letter went into a drawer, not burned, not kept close. It was done. He'd won. Not by crushing her, but by outgrowing her. She'd fade, like a bad dream, no power left. Later that night, he and Claire stood on his balcony, the city alive below. Fall air bit their skin, stars faint against the glow. He poured 2 glasses of red, handed her one. She leaned against the railing, her shoulder brushing his. Comfortable. Right. To what? She asked, raising her glass, eyes on him. Change, he said, simple, true. New starts. She smiled, clinking her glass to his. To us, then. They drank, the wine sharp, the moment sharper. New York stretched out endlessly. Neck. Low hummed. Friends waited. Claire stood beside him. Lena's shadow was gone, not erased but irrelevant. He'd built this. Home, love, life through betrayal's rubble. The past was ash, the future was his to shape. He pulled Claire close, her warmth real, and let the city sing below.